Exposing the truth about Wendy Williams' health issues. You'll never believe what's going on with Wendy Williams and all of her crazy health issues. Today, we're uncovering exactly what is going on with Wendy Williams right now. Wendy Williams' life has been on a crazy downward spiral since it was first discovered that her husband of 21 years had a child with another woman. Although at the time she publicly expressed that she was doing well, that hasn't been the case in the years since. Wendy Williams has dealt with a ton of substance issues, health issues, and so much more. In 2018, around the time that news of her husband's new child became public, Wendy took a 3-week break from her popular daytime talk show, The Wendy Williams Show. At the time, she said that it was due to her diagnosis with Graves' disease. Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease that attacks your thyroid and can cause a lot of health issues, particularly around being fatigued. Her health issues were unfortunately on display for the world to see. She had suffered a seizure on live TV and had been seen slurring her words on air. She also told her audience that she had been wearing a sling under her clothes due to her shoulder injury, but that she didn't need surgery for it. Because of that, it was no secret that Wendy was going through a difficult time for one reason or another. That being said, no one had any idea what the real reason was exactly, and as we all now know, no one had any idea just how complicated the details surrounding her break would become. Just before her divorce from Kevin Hunter was announced in 2019, Wendy took another break from the show, this time blaming her leave of absence on a surgery that she needed to get after a shoulder injury the year before. What was supposed to be a 3-week hiatus turned into a nearly 3-month break from the popular talk show host. After her divorce was announced a few months later, it became clear that something else was going on behind the scenes that led Wendy to absence, but fans never could have guessed the craziness that was going on in her private life. Shortly after she returned to her show, she announced that she had actually been living in a sober living house to help break her free from her addictions. Much to the shock of fans, she admitted that not only had she been living in a sober living house for a while, but she was living in a sober living house as she filmed the show every day, and her explanation was super shocking. She said that she had been dealing with a decades-long substance abuse addiction and was finally seeking help. At the time, she said that no one knew about her treatment except for her then husband and son. She said that she was living with a group of men who were like family to her now. Her announcement made a statement to everyone around the world that addiction can affect anyone, even someone with as much money and fame as Wendy Williams. She seemed to be on a positive track. However, it wasn't the last of Wendy's health issues surrounding her show, unfortunately. After Wendy finished the 11th season of her show in 2019, she announced that the show had been renewed through 2022. However, no one could have predicted just how crazy the show would get in the following years. Wendy finalized her divorce from Kevin Hunter in January of 2020, and by March of 2020, Wendy needed to take an indefinite break from her popular daytime talk show, The Wendy Williams Show. It was initially blamed on the pandemic, which may have been the cause due to all the production halting on talk shows. However, when Wendy did eventually return to the show from the safety of her own home, it didn't last very long. Although she was able to host a few shows, by May of 2020 she announced that she would be taking a break from the show due to her issues with her autoimmune disease, Graves' disease. Wendy blamed the show's hiatus on complications with fatigue. For fans of Wendy and the show, it started to become more and more obvious that something was happening with Wendy behind the scenes. In July of 2020, Wendy announced that the show would start its 12th season in September. This came as a shock to fans given how up and down Wendy's show had been over the past few years. But even still, the show was able to come back, but not for nearly as long as it was supposed to. Once again, Wendy's show went on another hiatus in December of 2020, and it was announced that it would not be back until January of 2021. This hiatus had to do with Wendy's mom unfortunately passing away, but fans understandably began to worry about Wendy's health and substance issues that had plagued the star previously. The show did come back in January, and this time she was able to finish out the season with little issues. During this time, her career seemed stronger than ever. She was featured on The Masked Singer, she released a biopic and documentary, and it seemed like her struggles were, for the most part, behind her as she rebuilt her life. Wendy still, however, made headlines for her views about the pandemic over the course of 2021. That all came to a head towards the end of the summer, right as she was about to return for a new season of her show, and you'll never believe why. Wendy unfortunately contracted a very bad case of COVID that was damaging for her. It was a scary time for everyone's favorite talk show host, who says she was vaccinated at the time she tested positive. At the same time as her COVID diagnosis, an employee of Wendy's called an ambulance for her in order to do a mental health check. It is unclear if the ambulance was also related to her COVID-19 symptoms. However, the diagnosis once again threw Wendy's show off track. This time, the consequences may mean the end of the Wendy Williams show, and you'll never believe the crazy reason why. Wendy's new season was originally supposed to premiere on September 21st, 2021. However, due to her positive COVID test, it was delayed to October 4th, 2021. What very few people knew, though, was that even before Wendy had COVID, she was unable to promote the new show due to unspecified lingering medical issues. Wendy has experienced dozens of health issues over the years, between her shoulder, her addiction, and her diagnosis with Graves' disease, so it could mean anything. However, usually Wendy gets back up and keeps going. That doesn't seem to be the case this time. This time around, when October 4th rolled around, Wendy's team announced that the show would once again be delayed until October 18th, this time due to previous lingering medical issues, not due to COVID diagnosis. When it got closer and closer to October 18th, fans worried and wondered what would happen with the star and her show. It was just announced days before the premiere that Wendy would not return for the time being while she focused on working on her health every single day. Instead, the show would return with a lineup of famous guest hosts to take over until Wendy was ready to return to work. However, it seems like she may never get the chance. This season, something changed that no one could ever see coming. The producers had Wendy's replacement lined up and ready to go. Nick Cannon was set to premiere his talk show immediately after Wendy's popular daytime talk show. Because Wendy's show attracts such a large audience, Nick Cannon's show is expected to be an instant success. However, that all changed for Nick when Wendy was unable to return to TV in the fall. He had left the status of his show in jeopardy. It seems like it may actually work out in Nick's favor at the end of it all, though. It's rumored that the producers and network are in talks to replace Wendy's show entirely with Nick's show that was supposed to be on air immediately after the Wendy Williams show. Due to how recently these changes have occurred and how everything's changing day by day for Wendy, it's hard to say exactly what will happen, and nothing's been confirmed yet. At this point, we can all hope for a speedy recovery for Wendy and that she can get back to doing what she does best, hosting her iconic daytime TV show sooner rather than later. Well guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please hit that like, follow, subscribe, share button, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.